Hi, I'm George Pearson. In this Photoshop Elements video, we'll be doing a Happy New Year's style poster here for 2018. Now, if you enjoy this video, make sure you click that like button and also, of course, share with your friends. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any new videos coming out in 2018. And if you want to learn a lot more about Photoshop Elements, take a look at my complete training courses, and you'll find the links for that in the cards and also on my YouTube channel. Okay, let's get to it. This Happy 2018 card uses just some basic tricks and a couple little unusual ways of working with text in here to get this kind of nice jewelry effect in here for the type, and then just some background images and stuff. Now, the typeface I used on here is a special one, and I found this over at dafont.com. Let me just bring up that window. Here we go. It's called Tandu, and I have this link is in the description, so you can just click on that link in the description to go right to this page. You'll need to download this font or use a different font that's similar. This is just a big, fat, thick font. That's all you need. Any kind of big, fat, thick font will work. You probably already have one that will do just fine, but this is the one that I used in this training. To install your fonts, go here to the home page for dafont.com, and right here, right there, is basic information on how to install fonts onto your computer. It's really very easy to do. Now, when you install a font, you'll have to do it with Photoshop Elements closed and then reopen Photoshop Elements to go ahead and use that font. The reason for that is that it reads the font list when it opens up. So if you have your Elements open and you go to install the font, you need to close it down and then reopen Elements to see the font in the font list. Aside from that, just some basic text stuff in here, a couple of pictures, and I have links for those on the materials page for this video, and there it is. Okay, let's go ahead. We'll start off with a brand new file. I'll close that one down. Now, I already have this font installed on my system, so we'll start off with a brand new file, and we'll use just the default Photoshop Elements size, which is 6 by 4 at 300 pixels per inch, and choose OK. Now, you don't need to have a floating window on this project. I'll just dock the window just like that. Okay, we'll start off with a black background just to make it kind of easy to see what we're doing, but we'll change that background later on. So grab the paint bucket, click inside, and just give that a nice black background. Okay, move over to the type tool here and change the type color to white. Just click on that and choose white. And as you can see here, there's the font already installed on my system. Right there, down in the T section, of course, and it's that Tandu Beta style. Now, the type size that you want on this, let me just bring this in here. The type size is 110 points. There we go. It's centered, and on the leading, set the leading to 110 as well. So there, here we are. Just type in happy and 2018 exclamation point and choose OK. So there it is. There's the Happy 2018. Again, it's at 110 point for the type size and 110 point for the leading here, which is the space between your text. Just, basically center this in the page. Just kind of visually center it. Nothing really specific about that position. Okay, we're ready now to begin playing with our type. The first thing we'll do is we'll take this type layer and just copy it to a new layer. We'll be doing some changes on this, so I always like having my original text layer saved just in case I want to go back and redo something. I'll do these little saves, periodically during my production of a new project. Okay, so here's our new layer. We'll now apply a style onto this. So come down to the Styles button right there. There we go. And the one I want here is Wow Chrome, way down towards the bottom, as you can see right there. And the top left-hand corner is called Wow Chrome Beveled Edge. Just double-click on that, and that will apply that onto our text. There it is. There's our nice Wow Chrome effect. Let's move back over to the layers, and there it is. There's our type layer with that chrome effect. Now I need to simplify the layer at this point. So right-click where the name is and choose Simplify. And you see what happens? It's no longer text, it's now an object with the separate layer style. Let's simplify it again. Right click and simplify, and that merges that layer style into the text. So it's just a picture now at this point. And that's why I saved the type down here below. In case I wanted to change my text, I have to go back to that level at that point to make my changes. Alright, so there it is. There is just a picture. Let's now colorize this, give it that kind of nice gold tone effect in here. And we'll do that by putting a new layer above this layer. Okay, here's our new layer. We're going to fill this layer, go over to the foreground color, and let's change this foreground color to kind of a nice orangey yellow. So it's FFDE00, right there. Just kind of a nice bright orange yellow. Choose OK. And then fill that layer. Just go for the paint bucket, click inside any old place, and it gives you a nice solid color layer. We now need to blend this layer into our text layer down below. So go to the blend modes and come down to overlay, which is right down here, and that gives us that nice yellowy color. The nice thing about doing it this way is I can always change my color in here, change the effect just by changing this one layer. I could even put a gradient on here and get a gradient effect if I wanted to. So that's why I always separate out the color from the actual letters. So there's our nice bright gold tone. I now want to put a glow in behind the letters in here, but I don't want that glow colorized by this orange yellow layer. So we need to put a layer mask in here so that this is only applied to just the lettering down below. Easy to do. Hold the Control key down and click on the icon for this layer right there. And that selects out just that part. We're on our orange layer here. Click on the Layer Mask button. That gives us a layer mask now so that this is only being applied to just the letters, the coloration just to the letters. We can now come down to this layer, our text layer, and apply another layer effect down here. This, by the way, is why we simplified this a couple of steps ago so I could do the two different effects on the same layer. Okay, layer and layer style, style settings. We'll be doing a glow this time. It's an outer glow. And you can see already if I bring up the size here, there's kind of a glow thing happening in behind right there. You can see that. Okay, let's set the glow settings in here. Size at 111. Set the opacity all the way to the top at 100. And I want kind of a bluish tone in here. So right there, little white square, kind of hard to see sometimes, but there's a square right there. Click on that. That brings up the color picker. And then down here, just type in C1D5FF. Just get kind of a nice light blue in there and choose OK. So now I have two different effects happening on this. Our bevel effect, of course, which we did previously, and then it's kind of a glow. Now this glow is going to help blend this into the fireworks later on when we add those into the image. Choose OK. All right, so far so good. Now, we need to change the insides of the letters. I want to have it bright on this side and a little bit darker over here. So it'll be a gradient inside there. And I want that separate from this lettering here. So to do that, we're still on our layers. You can see here the text layer. Go over to the magic wand. And if I set the tolerance down to 0, I just wanted to show you this. If I set it down to 0, click in here, it's only going to select just a part of that letter. If I bring it up a little bit to say 8 and click in here someplace, it gets a little more but it doesn't get everything. And that's because there's a slight gradient happening, kind of a little bit of shadowing happening in some of these letters. I found from experimentation that for this particular one, a tolerance of 15 is pretty good. And at 15, it gives me just the insides of those letters. Let's just start off here with a brand new one. Make sure it's nice and clean. There we go. So brand new. Do the first one, click to add, and then click in the flat part of the letters and add the rest of these in. Now different lettering and different effects may require different tolerance levels. So you may need to try this a little bit, slight adjustments on here until you get just the inside selected and nothing else. If it's not perfectly exact on the edges, that's okay. So flat part here, flat part right down there. So I now have all the insides selected and that outer gold rim is not selected. We can now copy this to a new layer. So layer, new, via copy. There it is. Let's take this layer now, pull this above that layer, and there we go. There's our copied layer. Now there's an FX on this one. Click on that, and here you can undo the glow on that layer. That's not needed on that one. So just uncheck everything in here. So all those are unchecked. Choose OK. And there's a nice flat lettering in here. And the reason why it's gray is that's the original color, of course, of this before it had the orange applied to it. Let's now put a new coloration inside of the flat part of our lettering. And we'll do that with an adjustment layer. Let's go up here to Layer and come down to Fill Layer, and you want a gradient fill layer. Choose that. Where it says use previous layer to create clipping mask, make sure that is selected and choose OK. And that fills that in, as you can see. Now it's filled it in with a gradient that's going from solid to clear on the right hand side. Say linear style, that's fine. Leave linear OK, that's where it should be. On the angle, set the angle to 45. That moves it over so it's one side is over here, other side's over there. So far so good. But I want to change the gradient up here. So click on that little gradient there, and that brings up the editor. Click on the first option here, which is foreground to background. Right now it's our yellow color down to white on the right hand side. But let's click on the right hand side first. Click on that little stop. Notice a little black triangle. That means you're on that particular color stop. Come down here where it says color. Click on this. And I want a dark brown in here. And the one that I used was 6A4701. Right there. Just kind of a nice dark brown tone, dark brown color. And choose OK. All right, and we kind of see how things are happening in there. I want to brighten the left side up now a little bit. So let's go back over here to the left side color. Click on that. Click on the color stop in here. And then change this color to FFF000. So it's kind of the same family but a lot brighter. And choose OK. And it kind of brightens up that edge over there. So that brings in our basic coloration. Now, you can see that the coloring here is kind of dark over here and moves slowly over here. I want to have the brightness further towards the right hand side, and you can do that with this control right down here. This shows you the gradient left to right. This is your center point. That's where the gradient switches, your middle point. So you can grab that. See how that little icon pops up there? You want it to be on an arrow. There it is. If it's up here, it's an eyedropper. If it's down here, it's a hand, someplace like a hand right there. You want it an arrow right on that little itty-bitty kind of control handle. Grab that and pull that to the right. As you can see here, what happens is it pulls that midpoint further and further towards the right. There it is. So we have more yellow here and more dark over there. Just kind of lightens it up here, and the change is a bit slower down here and faster over in here. And choose OK. So there we go. There's our basic coloration for the face of the letters. Choose All Right. Now if I hide this and show you can see what we've done there. We just added that gradient on top of the lettering. Okay, moving along nicely. Now it's not quite as bright or contrasty as I want, so I can put some adjustment on that to be able to kind of play with that contrast and adjustment in here on that gradient by adding another adjustment layer. Go up to Layer, Adjustment Layer, this time Levels. Make sure you have that checked right there. Use Previous Layer to create clipping mask. Choose OK. There's our controls. Now I can increase contrast by bringing the left and the right sides in a little bit. The left side you want 62. On the right side you want 232. And then I can shift the midpoint in here. So midpoint at 1.79. And that really kind of just really increases the contrast, as you can see, and it really brightens things up. And then close that down. So there's our brightness. There's before and after that adjustment. Okay, so far so good. That is all right where it should be. We can now get to work on our background. the first thing I want is to have a new background coloration. I'll do a new layer above this background. There we are. We'll fill this with a gradient. Now you can do this either as a layer like this or putting in a new gradient layer. Either one doesn't matter. I'll do it as a gradient layer. So layer and new fill layer, gradient. Don't check it this time. Choose OK. And that gives us a nice little gradient in here. Now change the gradient to the first option there. That's the solid color to white. And then we'll change the two end stops on this one. Left side, click on the left side and change the color. We'll change this to 0054FF. This is just kind of a nice mid-tone blue right there. On the right-hand side, which as you can see here is the top, so there's the blues at the bottom. I want black at the top, so I'll change this side. Click on that little icon right there. Click on the color picker, and you can just click in the middle and drag to the bottom left-hand corner, or type in all zeros down here. Choose OK. Gives you a nice black. So there it is. It's this color at the bottom to this color at the top. Choose OK. Leave the angle at 90. That's the default. Choose OK. There's our background coloration. We'll now put in a couple of pictures in here of some sparklers, giving us that fireworks effect. We'll then blend those into this background. Notice already how that light blue that I chose back here is beginning to blend that glow into our background coloration. Okay, let's open up a first file. So File and Open. Now I have these pictures already on my hard drive. There are links for these on my video support page. You'll find a link for that, of course, in the description. So click on this one here, the horizontal picture. Choose Open. There it is. Now this comes in as a floating window. If you don't have these windows floating, you can find it up here under Edit. Come down to Preferences and General. And make sure this line right here is checked. Allow floating documents in expert mode. If that is checked, then your windows come in as floating like this, which makes this real easy. Just grab the background, drag it over here, and then close that down. Okay, now on this layer, you can see it's kind of over here near the top, near the right-hand corner. Just pull it up till it fits just in the upper right-hand corner. It should snap right to those corners. If it doesn't, take a look at View, come down to Snap To, and make sure that Document Bounds is checked in there. They should all be checked by default anyway. Here's our first one. Let's now blend this into our blue background. So we'll change the blend mode up here. And the one that you want is Linear Dodge Add. And there it is. So it keeps the fireworks, but it shows through the background everywhere where it's dark. So the light stuff is shown and the darker stuff is hidden. Now on this particular image, right down here is a little bit of the sparkler showing right there. We can fix that very easily. Let's just zoom in. I'm going to change the blend mode so it's easier to see here. I'll put the blend mode back to normal again. And let's zoom in on that. Needs just a little fix. Just a little bit of a sparkler right there. We can just hide that if you want to. It's not really a big deal, but let's go ahead and do a real nice clean job anyway. We'll fix this with the clone stamp tool. There we go. That's a pretty good size already. That's at 32 pixels. That's fine. It's a soft edge brush. And I'll just grab from out here and clone this dark stuff on top of that. So hold the Alt key down, choose a position, and then come in here and just paint out some of this stuff. You'll need to do this a few times, reselecting your clone from position. And just back that back up into that bright line, and then no one's going to spot that once we come in and blend this back in with the background. That's good enough. Just kind of clean that one little bit off right there. Okay, back to fit on screen. Change our blend mode back to Linear Dodge Add, and that's perfect. All right, let's bring in our second picture now. File, Open. That's the tall one here. Choose Open. Same thing. I'll just take this image over here, drag it just like that, drop it in, close that down. Now this time, pull this image in so it's just kind of right in over here. Just right in behind the 2 and the 0. There it is. So right in there. about there's a good spot. Let's now blend this into this image and the background. We'll do a little bit different blend mode this time. So normal, come down to the color dodge option right there. So we get a little color shift when we do that, and that gives us a little bit of a variation on our coloration. So there's our background sparkles. The last thing we have left is to put some bright highlights onto our text. Go up here to the top layer, make a new layer above that. Go over here to the paintbrush, set the foreground color to white. Just use a little toggle right there, foreground color to white. Go to the brush settings in here, change this from default to assorted brushes, and then scroll down, and down a ways in here, there's a nice kind of a bright spot right there. It's this one. It is the Starburst Large. It says 49. That's the brush size on that. So there's our Starburst Large. And it's pretty small right now, so let's bring the brush size up quite a bit. Bring it up to, let's say, 150 in here. And there it is. You can kind of see it there against the black. There's the size of our brush now. And now we'll just put in some highlights around the text. Put one right up here on the top corner. I'll click it 10 times to get a nice bright sparkle on there. We'll put a few of these in here. Put one right over here. There's 10 clicks on that. I'll do one right over in here someplace. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 clicks there. And just continue on across, doing 10 clicks each time. Like that. And then right over here. I'll do one down over here someplace. Again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's a sparkle right there. Do one up here on the top of the 2. Again, 10 clicks. Top of the 0. Over in here on the 1. Top of the 8 right there. Right over in here. Left-hand side of the exclamation point. And right there on the highlight on the dot on the bottom. And that puts our nice little sparkles onto our text. And there we go. We can now zoom in. I'll just pull this out and float this like that. We can see it a bit better in here. And there we go. There's our nice text. There's a little bit of an issue right in there that I'm seeing. Let's see if we can spot where that little bit is coming in, and see if we can clean that up. You know, this in here is okay. That's just kind of the reflections, and that's all fine. Get this little bit of a edge showing. I like that, but that one right there is bothering me. Let's take a look and see where that is. So let's move this over. Let's first check out our top layer in here. Okay, it's right there on this top layer. It's on this layer 2 copy. And let's see if it's on the, won't be anything on the FX, so it's in here someplace. And we probably have a hole showing right there. So I'm just going to take a little bit of coloration from here and paint it on top of that. Hold the control key down, click on the icon, and it gives us our selection. You can see right there the selection is just a little bit off. So we need to fix that little bit. And that's easy to do. I'm just going to zoom in here, and we'll remove this from our selection, then just paint over that, and that should be just fine. So let's go to our select tools. Doesn't matter which one. I think this will work out fine. Just grab the rectangular marquee, and let's do add to selection. And I'll drag it right around like that. That adds that to that selection. Go to the clone stamp tool, Alt and click, grab something from here, and I'm just going to paint right over that. And there we go. That cleans that up. We can now deselect, and we'll go back to a smaller size here. Hold the Alt key down, back up, and that's good. I like that. And there we go. So there is our Happy 2018 card. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you found it useful. If you like this video, click on the like button below to let others know. You can click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of my videos in the future. I'm frequently uploading new training videos. Don't forget to check out my website at howtogurus.com.